Hello, Meoni here, and welcome to the final patch notes for Final Fantasy XIV patch 4.06. We did a preliminary report on what to expect from this patch, however this video serves to inform those of you on the fly exactly what is in this patch to the last detail. So let's kick this off then with the first major change. Ixion. If you were not aware by now, Ixion is a fate boss in Final Fantasy XIV that spawns rarely in the Lox zone. The zone regularly reaches congestion, and recently they implemented instancing of zones into different channels, namely 1, 2 and 3, to try and spread people between them and make the zones playable. This failed, however, because of this fate's rarity and each zone having a separate spawn timer on the fate. If you wanted to farm Ixion for its horns, you would have to do it a minimum of 6 times if you managed to get gold completion, which rewarded you with 2 horns per kill. Silver progress would give you 1 horn. 12 horns were needed for the mount at Ralga's Reach in total from the primal vendor. The change then is not how many are needed, that still remains to be 12. However, the change in this patch is to how many the beast actually drops. Now, if you kill it of the patch, you will attain 6 horns for gold completion and 3 for silver, meaning you would technically only have to kill it twice if you got gold completion. This was an interesting change. Ultimately, any change is a good. People then, in short, at no fault of their own, made it impossible to enter the zone. This will not fix that immediately, and perhaps people who ordinarily wouldn't go for the mount now will. It puzzles me they didn't just reduce the amount of horns needed instead of the drop amount, but I suppose it's a good change where there would be nothing otherwise. Some of the tradecraft leave rewards have been increased. Apparently they were not rewarding as greater rewards as was intended, and a new PvP system has officially begun. You can go watch a PvP video all about these changes in the new season. I will leave a link in the description along with these patch notes for your convenience. So now it's on to the class changes part of these notes. Ordinarily I would brush over things, but this one is a little bit interesting. So let's start with Dragoons. They've had a significant amount of potency buffs in this patch. Heavy Thrust from 100 to 140 for example, with similar buffs to Chaos Thrust combo potency increased from 220 to 230, Fang and Claw potency from 200 to 250, and Wheeling Thrust potency 200 to 250. This comes as a welcome addition to many Dragoons out there that got a pretty bad deal so far in Stormblood DPS wise and should put a smile back on their face hopefully. Ninjas got an Aeolian Edge buff in the form of combo potency upped from 260 to 280, but a change to potency that Aeolian damage does from behind a target from 180 to 160, which can be classed as a nerf. Bards actually got a pretty bloody good deal in this patch, with Straight Shot's effect being increased in duration from 20 to 30 seconds, Barrage having its recast time reduced from 90 to 80 seconds, Mage's Ballad Song effect will now be granted even when the attack deals no damage to a target, with the same change to Army's Peon and Wanderer's Minuet, which is pretty cool. This goes to make Bards even better than they already were before. Machinist, however, got a mixed bag of changes this time. Hotshot got its duration increased to 60 seconds from 30. Gore's Barrel had its damage when overheated changed to 20% instead of 10%, and its recast time reduced to 60 seconds from 90. Dismantle has had its recast time also reduced to 60 from 90 seconds, and Flamethrower has had its heat gauge during use changed to 20 from 10. Finally, Summoner's got a look in this patch, but probably not the one people were wanting, I'm afraid. The potency of damage over time from Bio 3 has been increased to 50 from 40, and the potency of damage over time from Miasma 3 has also been increased to 50 from 40. It's likely they won't address any of the issues with your pets until at least 4.1, and this is unlikely to be the best change for summoners in total, but at least they did something. It just won't really make up for the way that Akmorn works, or the pet's vulnerability in general until a later patch. So let's move on to items. Carbonized matter grades 2 through 5 have been adjusted in that they now have a lower sale price to vendors. Grade 5 carbonized matter is now 14G, for example, from its previous 1000 gil. It's a curious change that they did a poster on a while ago explaining it, but there you go, that's finally in the game. And pretty much finally we should talk about the instancing again. They have removed the multiple instances of each zone apart from the locks. This is a pretty good change in that we have actually reached a stable enough point for them to do this. It's bad news for hunters in that there's going to be less to hunt, and it will likely be less profitable, so you might have to do a few other things to, get money instead of just selling materia. Who knows? However, we have also got the information that they finally removed the Afk Logout Timer from the game. So no longer would you have to employ cunning tricks such as talking to a vendor to avoid being kicked from the game, which really isn't that difficult, is it, whilst you make a coffee. However, the bad part is that with the Ixion changes and the locks still having instances, and now a logout timer being removed, does this not mean that the locks will be virtually impossible to enter at all times now due to camping groups, considering people were camping it before, but now they can do so without getting DC'd? Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting read to see what you would have done to remedy the Ixion fate and the instancing issues in general. The remainder of the patch notes are very lengthy bug fixes and crash fixes that aren't too important, so we can skip over those for now. However, if you do want to see the full notes and these bug fixes at the bottom, I will of course have all of the info links to the patch notes and the PvP stuff in the description of the video as per usual. Thank you kindly for watching today's patch notes for the 8th of August 2017, and I'll see you next time.